Birth information can often be found in the death records of a deceased person. Remember that the information of birth often came from someone besides the person who is deceased. Thus, it is generally considered a derivative source for the birth information. There are two basic types of court records for death information. This is an example of a list type. It usually gives the name of the deceased, the age, the death date, and location. This record also gives more information, such as the birthplace and the parents' names. This is a certificate type of death record. This gives the name of the deceased person, their birth date and birthplace, age, death date and location, parents' names, and parents' birth location. We don't always find all of that information on these, but this one is actually a pretty good record. I will now show you how to find some of these records in Family Search. Okay, I want to show you how to find birth records or birth dates on death records. So I'm hoping I can remember everything I want to show you here, but let's go here to Search Records. And I'm going to type in Illinois, see if I can spell it right. Let's move it up here. There's two different death records. There's death and burial. This is the one I want to choose. And we're going to go to the browse, and then it's going to ask for a name. Sometimes it will say browse the record, but this one doesn't. So I've got somebody here, Sarah Sisk. Okay, I'm going to search, and we have three names that come up, but this is the one I want. I'm going to click here on Sarah E. And we're going to notice here we have this indexed record. And here we have a burial date, and where she was buried in Union, Illinois. The death date was on the 4th, and she died in Cobden, Union, Illinois. But right here is what we were looking for. This is the birth. That's what we're talking about right now, is birth information. And she was born in Marion, Illinois. Now if we go down here and look, we have her father's name, but look at the mother's name. They could not read it. So it's always a good idea to look at the actual record if you can find it. Well, this one says browse film, and this is what I want to show you because a lot of people don't know how to look up the information. So I had looked before. I just had to do a little bit of looking. This is book 1. She actually is in book 2. So here's book 2, and notice at the beginning of the books it has an index. And I found the S's here, and I found her here, Sarah E. Sisk, and she's on page 1. Lucky us. So let's go down. You can tell these are indexes right here, and this is page 1. So when we come here, we see this is not her. This is an Oliver. It is in Union County. That is not who we're looking at. Well, look at here. There's a line, and we have another death record. So these lines that means this is a death record, this is a death record. That separates the different records. So when we blow this up a little bit, we look at this. I actually think this might be Lish. It could be Sisk, or maybe Lisk. Not sure exactly what it is. This is not my family. There are a few things on here. So we get her age. She's 46. Years, 9 months, and 12 days. But we also have her birth date. There it is. Let's look over here. It gives her father's name, William Jasper Parrish, and he was born in Marion, Williamson County, Illinois. And there's the mother's name. Now let's look at that. It looks like Arelia. Now let's go back here. This said ... line Elmore. This is why you want to look at the actual record. I think her name is Arlia Elmore, not anything that's Line. And so you would have that. And she was born somewhere in Texas. The other thing you want to look at is the informant. Who gave the information? And on this one, it looks like Mrs. Agnew. my guess is Mrs. Agnew is probably a sister. And so you may want to look up information on William Jasper Parrish and see if he has a daughter that married an Agnew. But that informant, you have to remember that they may not remember this information. Remember, this is 46 years after the event of the birth. And if it was a younger sister, she was not there at the birth. She doesn't remember. Even if it was a sister that's only a year or two older than her, she probably doesn't remember it. But I know my siblings' birth dates, and so she probably knew, whoever it was probably knew this birth date. So that is what's important on these death records, is to realize that most of this is not primary. It's a derivative source. Somebody else is giving the information and was not there as a witness. Now, sometimes the mother will give the information of their father, and they do know that. Well, I want to take a little bit more look at this record here. Let's go to some other pages here. Okay, we have this Beulah Elizabeth, and it looks like Minators, I'm not sure that last name, but it does not give a birth date. Her age is 16 years, 0 months, and 5 days. And we have the death date down here. Well, that's the burial date, January 5th, 1910. It looks like she died on the 3rd of January, 1910. She died at home, but no parents are given. But let's say this is the person you were looking for and you have this. You can use, I'd typed in age calculator, and this came up. So we have a death date of January 3rd. So let's put in January 3rd, 1910. And then I put it to subtraction. We want to subtract 16 years, 0 months, and it was 5 days. And calculate. Okay. It's been a while since I've used one of these. There we go. We have December 29th, 1893 is probably her birth date. So you could put that in. That's how you calculate the date from a death date, and when they give you the years, the months, and the days. So hopefully I've showed you enough on that. One other thing I wanted to show you is on these, sometimes this information gets in the way. Let's see if I can. Sometimes you can click on that and it will move it farther down or out of the way. I think it does work better on my larger screen. This is my small screen. Okay, so we've showed you that. Now let's go back. And there was something else I wanted to show. Let's see if I can remember what it was. Oh, I wanted to do search catalog. That's what I wanted to show you. So you can search on catalog, and I'm going to do online because I like to be able to actually see what it is that is there. Whoops. So let's go back. I do that quite often. You have to put in a place. So I'm going to put in Center County, Pennsylvania. I have some family from there, and here it comes up. So I'm going to click on that, click on online, and there we go. And vital records, and we have registration of deaths. Yes, this is what I wanted to show. So there's one film, and notice here it says item 3 and 4. So on the films, they have different items. This is item 1 here. So we're going to go up and we're going to do, there's item 2. And then here's item 3. So let's look at this. I think this is just a list. Instead of an actual death certificate, it's a list. And so in this one, they're asking the name of the deceased, white male, age 13 months, and date of death. So this one, you would have to use that date calculator and figure out the date again. Let's see if they give. And most of these, it just gives the age and the date. So in this, for a record like this, you need to calculate the dates. And place of birth, it does give that, so you at least have that. And place of death, and it gives you the cause of death. And where they were interred, and date of interment, and when it was recorded. So I wanted to show you, because there's basically those two types of death records, and some are going to give you the birth date, and some are going to give you the age and the death date, and then you have to calculate it. Anyways, I hope that is helpful. Hopefully I'm helping somebody by doing these videos, and I'll see you on the next video. Happy hunting!